Genesis, chapter 26. Now there was a famine in the land of Canaan, besides the previous famine that had occurred in Abraham's time. So Isaac went to the town of Gerar to see King Abimelech of the Philistines. The Lord spoke to Isaac and said, "Don't go down to Egypt, live in the land where I tell you to live. Live temporarily as a foreigner in this land, and I will be with you and will bless and favor you, for I will give all these lands to you and to your descendants, and I will establish and carry out the oath which I swore to Abraham your father. I will make your descendants as numerous as the stars in the sky and will give them all these lands. Through your descendants, all the nations on the earth will be blessed. I will do this because your father Abraham listened to my voice and obeyed, and he obeyed my instructions, my commands, my teachings, and my laws." So Isaac stayed in Gerar. His wife Rebekah was very beautiful, and the men of that place asked Isaac about her. He said, "She is my sister," because he was afraid to tell them she was his wife. He thought they might kill him so that they could have her. After Isaac had lived there for a long time, one day Abimelech king of the Philistines looked out of a window and saw Isaac caressing his wife Rebekah. So Abimelech called for Isaac and said, "So, she is your wife? Why did you tell us that she was your sister?" Isaac replied, "Because I was afraid someone would kill me to get her from me." Abimelech said, "What is this that you have done to us? One of our men might easily have been intimate with your wife, and you would have made us guilty of great sin." Then Abimelech commanded all his people, "Whoever touches this man Isaac or his wife Rebekah shall without exception be put to death." Isaac sowed crops in that land and gathered 100-fold harvest in the same year, because the Lord blessed him. Isaac became great, and he gained more and more wealth until he became very wealthy and extremely distinguished. He owned so many flocks of sheep and goats, herds of cattle, and servants that the Philistines envied him. So they stopped up all the wells the servants of Isaac's father Abraham had dug, by filling them with dirt. Then Abimelech said to Isaac, "Leave our country, because you have become much more powerful than we are." So Isaac left that region and camped in the valley of Gerar, and lived there. Isaac once again dug and reopened the wells of water which had been dug in the days of Abraham his father, because the Philistines had filled them up with dirt after the death of Abraham. Isaac gave them the same names his father had given them. Isaac's servants also dug in the valley and discovered a well of fresh water there. But the herdsmen of Gerar quarreled with Isaac's herdsmen, saying, "The water is ours." So Isaac named the well Ezek, because they quarreled with him. Then Isaac's servants dug another well, but they quarreled over that also, so Isaac named it Sitnah. Isaac moved from there and dug another well, and they did not quarrel over that one, so he named it Rehoboth, saying, "At last the Lord has created enough space for us to prosper in this land." Then he went up from there to Beersheba. The Lord appeared to him the same night and said, "I am the God of your father Abraham. Do not be afraid, for I am with you. I will bless you and multiply your descendants for the sake of my servant Abraham." So Isaac built an altar and worshipped the Lord in that place. He set up his camp at that place, and his servants dug a well there. Abimelech came from Gerar to see Isaac. He brought with him Ahuzath, his advisor, and Phicol, the commander of his army. Isaac asked, "Why have you come to see me, since you were hostile to me and you even forced me to leave your country?" They answered, "Now we know that the Lord is with you. Let us swear an oath to each other. Let us make a treaty with you, that you will do us no harm, just as we did not harm you but always treated you well and sent you away in peace. Now the Lord has blessed you." Then Isaac held a formal banquet for them to celebrate the treaty, and they ate and drank together. Early the next morning the men swore an oath to each other. Then Isaac sent them on their way, and they left him in peace. Now on the same day, Isaac's servants came and told him about the well they had dug, saying, "We have found water." So Isaac named it Sheba, and that city is still called Beersheba. When Esau was 40 years old, he married 2 Hittite women. One was Judith, the daughter of Beeri. The other was Basemath, the daughter of Elon. They made life miserable for Isaac and Rebekah. Genesis, chapter 27. Now when Isaac was old and his eyes were too dim to see, he called his elder and favorite son Esau and said to him, "My son." And Esau answered him, "Here I am." Isaac said, "I am an old man now, and I don't know when I may die. So take your weapons, your bow and arrows, and go hunting in the field for an animal for me. Prepare a delicious dish of meat, the kind that I love, and bring it to me, and I will eat. Then I will bless you before I die." So Esau went for hunting. Rebekah was listening when Isaac told this to his son Esau. Rebekah said to Jacob, her younger and favorite son, "Listen, I heard your father talking to your brother Esau. Your father said, 'Kill an animal for me. Prepare a delicious meal for me, and I will eat it. Then, I will bless you in the presence of the Lord before I die. Now, my son, listen carefully and do exactly as I tell you. Go out to the flocks and bring me 2 of the best young goats. I will prepare a delicious dish of meat for your father, just the kind he loves to eat. Then take the food to your father so he can eat it and bless you before he dies.' But Jacob told his mother Rebekah, 'My brother Esau is a hairy man, and my skin is smooth. If my father touches me, he will know that I am not Esau. Then he will not bless me, but he will curse me because I tried to trick him.' But his mother said to him, 'My son, let the curse fall on me. Just do what I tell you. Go out and get the goats for me.' So Jacob went out and got 2 goats and brought them to his mother. She took them and prepared a delicious meal, just the way Isaac liked it. Then Rebekah took her elder son Esau's best clothes, which she had in the house, and put them on Jacob, her younger son. She also took the skins of the goats and put them on Jacob's hands and on his neck. Then she gave Jacob the tasty food and the bread she had made. Jacob went to his father and said, 'Father.' His father answered, 'Yes, my son. Who are you?' Jacob said to his father, 'I am Esau, your first son. I have done as you told me. Please sit up and eat some meat of the animal that I hunted for you. Then you can bless me.' But Isaac said to his son, 'How is it that you hunted and killed the animal so quickly?' Jacob answered, 'Because the Lord your God helped me find it.' Then Isaac said to Jacob, 'Come near to me so that I can touch you, my son. Then I will know if you are really my son Esau.' So Jacob went closer to his father. Isaac touched him and said, 'Your voice sounds like Jacob's voice, but your hands are hairy like the hands of Esau.' Isaac did not know it was Jacob, because his hands were hairy like Esau's. So Isaac blessed Jacob. Isaac said, 'Are you really my son Esau?' Jacob answered, 'Yes, I am.' Then Isaac said, 'Bring me the food. I will eat it and bless you.' So Jacob gave him the food, and he ate it. Then Jacob gave him some wine, and he drank it. Then Isaac said to him, 'My son, come a little closer and kiss me.' So Jacob went to his father and kissed him. When Isaac smelled Esau's clothes, he blessed him and said, 'The scent of my son Esau is like the aroma of a field which the Lord has blessed. May God give you plenty of rain, and good soil, an abundance of grain and new wine. May nations serve you and people bow down to you. May you be master over your brothers, and may your mother's sons bow down to you. May everyone who curses you be cursed, and may everyone who blesses you be blessed.' Isaac finished blessing Jacob. Then, just as Jacob left his father Isaac, Esau came in from hunting. Esau also prepared some tasty food and brought it to his father. He said, 'Father, please sit up and eat some meat of the animal that I hunted for you. Then you can bless me.' But Isaac said to him, 'Who are you?' He answered, 'I am your son, your firstborn, Esau.' Then Isaac trembled violently, and he said, 'Then who was it that hunted the animal and brought me food? I ate all of it before you came, and I blessed him. It is too late now to take back my blessing.' When Esau heard his father's words, he burst out with a loud and bitter cry, and said to his father, 'Bless me, even me also, O my father.' Isaac said, 'Your brother came and tricked me. He has taken your blessing.' Esau said, 'His name is Jacob. That is the right name for him. He has tricked me twice. He took away my rights as the firstborn son. And now he has taken away my blessing.' Then Esau said, 'Have you not reserved a blessing for me?' Isaac answered, 'I have already given Jacob the power to rule over you. And I said that all his brothers would be his servants. I have given him the blessing for much grain and wine. There is nothing left to give you, my son.' But Esau continued to beg his father, 'Do you have only one blessing, father? Bless me also, father.' Then Esau wept aloud. Then Isaac said to him, 'You will not live on good land. You will not have much rain. You will have to fight to live, and you will be a slave to your brother. But when you fight to be free, you will break away from his control.' After that Esau hated Jacob because of this blessing. Esau said to himself, 'The days of mourning for my father are very near, then I will kill my brother Jacob.' Rebekah heard about Esau's plan to kill Jacob. she quickly summoned Jacob and said to him, "Listen, your brother Esau is planning to kill you. So, my son, do what I say. My brother Laban is living in Haran. Go to him immediately. Stay with him for a while, until your brother's anger subsides. When your brother forgets what you did to him, I will send a servant to bring you back. I don't want to lose both of my sons the same day." Then Rebekah said to Isaac, "Your son Esau married Hittite women. I am tired of living because of these local Hittite women. I'll have nothing to live for if Jacob marries one of these daughters of the land." Genesis, chapter 28. Isaac called Jacob and blessed him, and commanded him, "You must not marry a Canaanite woman. Instead, go at once to Paddan-aram, to the house of Bethuel, your mother's father. Laban, your mother's brother, lives there. Marry one of his daughters. May God Almighty bless you and give you many children. And may your descendants multiply and become many nations. May God pass on to you and your descendants the blessings he promised to Abraham, so that you may take possession of the land where you now reside as a foreigner, the land God gave to Abraham." So Isaac sent Jacob to Rebekah's brother in Paddan-aram. Jacob went to Laban, son of Bethuel the Aramean. Laban was the brother of Rebekah, the mother of Jacob and Esau. Esau learned that his father Isaac blessed Jacob and sent him away to Paddan-aram to find a wife there. He also learned that Isaac commanded Jacob not to marry a Canaanite woman, and that Jacob obeyed his parents and went to Paddan-aram. So Esau realized that his father Isaac did not want his sons to marry Canaanite women. Esau already had 2 wives, but he went to Abraham's son Ishmael and married another woman, Mahalath, the daughter of Ishmael. Mahalath was Nebaioth's sister. Jacob left Beersheba and traveled toward Haran. The sun had already set when he came to a good place to spend the night. Taking one of the stones there, he put it under his head and lay down there to sleep. Jacob dreamed that there was a ladder placed on the earth, and the top of it reached toward heaven, and he saw the angels of God ascending and descending on it. And then Jacob saw the Lord standing above the ladder. He said, "I am the Lord, the God of your grandfather Abraham, and the God of your father Isaac. I will give you the land that you are lying on now. I will give this land to you and to your descendants. Your descendants shall be as numerous as the dust particles of the earth. They shall spread out in all directions, to the west and to the east, to the north and to the south. And all the nations of the earth shall be blessed through you and your descendants. I am with you, and I will protect you everywhere you go. I will bring you back to this land. I will not leave you until I have done what I have promised." Then Jacob awoke from his sleep and said, "Surely the Lord is in this place, but I did not know it." Jacob was also afraid and he said, "What an awesome place this is. This is none other than the house of God, and this is the gateway to heaven." Jacob got up very early in the morning. He took the stone he had slept on and he set it up as a pillar. Then he poured olive oil over it. The name of that place was Luz, but Jacob named it Bethel. Then Jacob made this vow, "If God will be with me, and if he will protect me on this trip, and if he gives me food to eat and clothes to wear, and if I return to my father's house safely, then the Lord will be my God. I am setting this stone up as a memorial stone. It will show that this is a holy place for God, and I will give God 1/10 of all he gives me." Genesis, chapter 29. Then Jacob continued his journey and came to the land of the people of the east near Haran. As he looked, he saw a well in the field, and 3 flocks of sheep lying there resting beside it, because the flocks were watered from that well. A large stone covered the mouth of the well. When all the flocks were gathered there, the shepherds would roll the stone away from the well and water the sheep. Then they would put the stone back in its place. Jacob said to the shepherds there, "Brothers, where are you from?" They answered, "We are from Haran." Then Jacob asked, "Do you know Laban, the grandson of Nahor?" And they replied, "We know him." Then Jacob asked, "How is he?" They answered, "He is doing well. Look, here comes his daughter Rachel with the sheep." Jacob said, "Look, it's still broad daylight, and too early for the flocks to be gathered in their folds for the night. So give them water and let them go back into the pasture." But they said, "We cannot do that until all the flocks are gathered together, and the shepherds roll the stone from the mouth of the well and water the sheep." While Jacob was talking with the shepherds, Rachel came with her father's sheep, for she was a shepherdess. When Jacob saw his cousin Rachel, the daughter of Laban, his mother's brother, and Laban's sheep, he went to the well and rolled the stone from its mouth and watered the flock of Laban, his uncle. Then Jacob kissed Rachel, and he raised his voice and wept. Jacob told Rachel he was her father's relative, and that he was the son of Rebekah. So Rachel ran home and told her father. When Laban heard the news about his sister's son Jacob, he ran to meet him. Laban hugged him and kissed him and brought him to his house. Then Jacob told Laban everything that had happened. Then Laban said to him, "You are my bone and my flesh." Jacob stayed with him for a month. Then Laban said to Jacob, "Just because you are my relative, should you work for me for nothing? Tell me, what should your wages be?" Now Laban had 2 daughters. The name of the older was Leah, and the name of the younger was Rachel. Leah's eyes were weak, but Rachel was beautiful in form and appearance. Jacob loved Rachel, so he said to Laban, "I will work 7 years for you if you will allow me to marry your daughter Rachel." Laban said, "It would be better for her to marry you than someone else. Stay and work with me." So Jacob worked for Laban 7 years so he could marry Rachel. But they seemed like only a few days to him because he loved Rachel very much. After 7 years Jacob said to Laban, "Give me Rachel so that I can marry her. My time of work is over." So Laban gathered together all the people of the place and gave a wedding feast. That night Laban brought his daughter Leah to Jacob, and he slept with her. Laban also gave his slave girl Zilpah to his daughter Leah as a maid. In the morning when Jacob saw that it was Leah he had slept with, he said to Laban, "What is this that you have done to me? Did I not work for you for Rachel? Why have you tricked me?" Laban said, "It is not our custom here to give the younger daughter in marriage before the older one. Complete the full week of the marriage ceremony with Leah, and I will also give you Rachel to marry. But you must serve me another 7 years." So Jacob agreed and fulfilled Leah's week of celebration. Then Laban gave him his daughter Rachel to be his wife. Laban gave his slave girl Bilhah to his daughter Rachel as a maid. So Jacob slept with Rachel also, and his love for Rachel was greater than his love for Leah. Jacob worked for Laban for another 7 years. When the Lord saw that Jacob loved Rachel more than Leah, he enabled Leah to have children, but Rachel was barren. Leah became pregnant and gave birth to a son. She named him Reuben, for she said, "The Lord has seen my misery. Surely now my husband will love me." Then Leah became pregnant again and had another son. She named this son Simeon, for she said, "The Lord has heard that I am not loved." Then she became pregnant again and gave birth to a son and said, "Now this time my husband will become attached to me, for I have given him 3 sons." So she named him Levi. Once again Leah became pregnant and gave birth to another son. She said, "Now I will praise the Lord." And she named him Judah. Then for a time she stopped bearing children. Genesis, chapter 30. When Rachel saw that she bore Jacob no children, she envied her sister Leah. She said to Jacob, "Give me children, or I'll die." Then Jacob became furious with Rachel, and he said, "Am I in the place of God, who has kept you from having children?" Then Rachel said, "Take my maid, Bilhah, and sleep with her so that she can bear children for me, and through her I too can have a family." So Rachel gave Bilhah her maid as a secondary wife to Jacob, and he slept with her. Bilhah became pregnant and gave birth to a son for Jacob. Rachel said, "God has judged in my favor. He has listened to my plea and given me a son." So she named him Dan. Rachel's maid Bilhah became pregnant again and gave birth to a second son for Jacob. Rachel said, "With mighty wrestlings in prayer to God I have wrestled with my sister, and I have won." So she named him Naphtali. When Leah saw that she had stopped bearing children, she took Zilpah her maid and gave her to Jacob as a secondary wife. Zilpah, Leah's maid, gave birth to a son for Jacob. Then Leah said, "How fortunate I am." So she named him Gad. Zilpah, Leah's maid, gave birth to a second son for Jacob. Leah said, "I am very happy. Now the other women will rejoice with me." So she named him Asher. During the wheat harvest Reuben went into the field and found some mandrakes and brought them to his mother Leah. But Rachel said to Leah, "Please give me some of your son's mandrakes." Leah answered, "You have already taken away my husband. Would you take away my son's mandrakes also?" But Rachel answered, "Jacob shall sleep with you tonight in return for your son's mandrakes." When Jacob came in from the field in the evening, Leah went out to meet him and said, "You will sleep with me tonight, because I have paid for you with my son's mandrakes." So he slept with her that night. Then God listened and answered Leah's prayers. She became pregnant again and gave birth to a fifth son for Jacob. Then Leah said, "God has given me my reward because I have given my maid to my husband." So she named him Issachar. Leah became pregnant again and gave birth to a sixth son. She said, "God has given me a fine gift. Now surely Jacob will treat me with honor, because I have borne him 6 sons." So she named him Zebulun. Later, Leah gave birth to a daughter. She named her Dinah. Then God remembered Rachel and answered her prayers by enabling her to conceive. She became pregnant and gave birth to a son, and said, "God has taken away my disgrace." Rachel named him Joseph and said, "May the Lord add to me another son." After the birth of Joseph, Jacob said to Laban, "Release me to go back to my own place and to my own country. Give me my wives and my children for whom I have served you, and let me go. You certainly know how hard I have worked for you." Laban said to him, "Please, let me say something. I know that the Lord has blessed me because of you. Tell me what I should pay you, and I will give it to you." Jacob answered, "You know how hard I've worked for you, and how your possessions, your cattle and sheep and goats, have grown under my care. When I came, you had little, but now your wealth has increased enormously. The Lord has favored you with blessings through everything I've done. But now, when shall I provide for my own household?" Laban asked, "Then what shall I give you?" Jacob answered, "You shall not give me anything. But if you will do this one thing for me, and I will come back and take care of your flocks. Let me go through all your flocks today and remove all the sheep and goats that are speckled or spotted, along with all the dark or black lambs. Give these to me as my wages. In the future, my honesty will testify for me. When you come to look at my flocks, if I have any goat that isn't speckled or spotted or any lamb that isn't black, you will know I stole it." Laban answered, "Agreed. Let it be as you have said." But that very day Laban took away all the male goats that were streaked and spotted, all the female goats that were speckled and spotted, and all the black sheep. He put them in the care of his sons. So the sons took all the spotted animals and led them to another place that was 3 days' journey away from Jacob. Jacob took care of the rest of Laban's flocks. Then Jacob took branches of fresh poplar and almond and plane trees, and peeled white stripes in them, exposing the white in the branches. Then he placed these peeled branches in front of the flocks at the watering places, for that was where they mated. So the flocks mated in front of the branches, and they gave birth to young ones that were streaked or speckled or spotted. Jacob separated those lambs from Laban's flock. And at mating time he turned the flock to face Laban's animals that were streaked or black. In this way he built up his own flock and kept it apart from Laban's. Anytime the stronger animals in the flock were mating, Jacob put the branches before their eyes so they would mate near the branches. But when the weaker animals mated, Jacob did not place the branches there. So the young animals born from the weaker animals were Laban's, and those born from the stronger animals were Jacob's. So Jacob became exceedingly prosperous, and had large flocks of sheep and goats, and female and male servants, and camels and donkeys.